Well, we are on our way to the Meadows, or on our way to Scioto from the Meadows. I wanted to update everybody on the 3-year-olds, how they're doing, what they're up to, when they're racing again. Arrowhead Hanover races next Friday in Philadelphia. I got a really, listen, the latter part of the day is going to be stressful for me today, as it's supposed to be. The first part of the day is over. It went fairly well. We'll talk about that in another video in a minute. But next weekend, obviously, Ollie goes to Cooperstown on Saturday. He starts playing on Sunday. I can either go to Philadelphia. Now, as I said to Tim, if Arrowhead, Hanover, and Manhattan Money draw the outside, well, I could easily ask somebody else to drive those horses. We have Captain Incredible prepping again for the Adios, which is coming up in 2 weeks. I know there's going to be people saying, I don't know if he's good enough. Of course you don't know if he's good enough. I don't know if he's good enough. But at the end of the day, I think it's about time we start stretching him out. He's chasing some speed and some non-winners horses. But I want him to elevate a little bit, and I want to get him stretched out. Really happy with the way he's been pacing lately, the confidence in which he's doing it. I think, quite frankly, he's surprising himself. And I like to keep it that way. I like to keep him stretched out, and moving forward. Eventually, I believe when we get down to Kentucky, we're going to have a lot of fun with this guy. That's my hope and prediction for Captain Incredible. Enough about that. Let's get to the 3-year-olds. Arrowhead Hanover raced his skin off his last time. We gave him the week off. Going to train him up and race him in Philadelphia next Friday. Aunt Lily, yes, so-so the other day. Need to see more. I think Jason told me that Kane Kaufman told him that she was a little rough in the turns. Now, we did just take the flip-flops off of her. They may need to go back on. Blue Ventura is in on Monday, I believe. As I said, that skin infection should be gone now. I haven't checked in with either Jason about it, because when I looked at it, it was pretty remedial. It was just bad timing last week. Captain Incredible, as I talked about it a minute ago, raced great the other day, 51-1, 27-1 at the end of it, but it's the way he did it, the way he felt, and his closing strides were his best ones of the race. So I feel he is coming forward, and next week is an important race. As I said to Tim, and as I said to Dave Palone, that Wyatt horse that was in there, Wild Bill Wyatt, or whatever his name is, he's out of that class now. So next week, Dave theoretically would be available to drive him. He's already won with him. And I certainly wouldn't hesitate to put Dave Palone on the horse. I believe I'm going to be in Philadelphia, but I guess I won't know till the draw comes out. Chicago Hall raced great at Georgian Downs his last start. We'll look to get him in to go at Mohawk sooner than later. Foxy Seaside, really over the last 72 hours, our only poor race was Foxy Seaside, and that was simply because she shut her air off. She choked down. Kane said he had pretty good hold of her. Jason scoped her after, and sure enough, that's exactly what took place. It's pretty simple, guys. Put her in the condition claimer that gorgeous package was in. That's where she's headed for next week. Freedom Hill, again, been racing well, continues to race well, continues to knock at the door. I would like to see her come forward a little bit, but I'm certainly not whining about how she is racing. Gaslight Hall is in to go with Georgian Downs. I had a pretty strenuous conversation with James today about Gaslight Hall and horses like Gaslight Hall. You know, James thought that maybe giving him the week off coming into the stake, and I said, James, I just can't do that. I'm not. He said his knees bother him, and, you know, I just think if you train him up going in, I said, James, he's an outlier in the golds. You know, he's there present. He's a competitor in the golds. I don't even know how competitive at the moment, but he's a competitor. Now, if you're telling me that you think he can trot 54 being off 16 days to win the grassroots, then cool, that's great. I don't see it. I don't see it happening. And I understand, you know, and you know, James is much like everybody else in this industry, myself included. You see a horse, maybe he has a few wrinkles in him, you're like, I can fix that horse. And sometimes you can. Many times you can. Sharp enough. But that doesn't mean the horse is going to be better. It doesn't mean the horse is going to be faster. And it doesn't mean that there's going to be any lengthy, more longevity to the horse, right? So, this idiot hit something blow right out of his truck. Yeah, I know, bud. Right out of your truck and under the car. I'm not sure what it was. I don't think it was anything too serious. I hope you're not going back to get it, because whatever it was is no longer. Anyway, where are where were we? We were at Gaslight Hall. So I simply told James, we're going to do our best to manage him. I didn't like him in the pool, all right? I'm sure he's a little bit sounder in the pool, and we have to work harder to manage him. That's ice and sweating and cold hose and, work at him. But at the end of the day, he needs that land work. Now, that's my 2 cents. I think since we've been putting him in the pool, he looks shiny, he looks happy. He's not racing as good. There's a horse that trotted, made a break leave and trotted last half in 26 and 4, 27 seconds with no Lasix. Then we had to put him on Lasix, and the other day showed a couple of flecks through Lasix. That is indicative, of racing a young horse out of a pool. I've seen this before. So, I think we just have to switch gears, pivot, try our best to manage this horse at land work, and that starts on Tuesday at Georgian Downs. So it's just a difference of opinion in respect to training methods when it comes to Gaslight Hall. But again, the proof will be in the pudding. I'm not saying I'm right. I believe I'm right. It does not mean that I am going to be right any more than James is. But we're going to see soon enough with Gaslight Hall. I think you're going to have to watch him race over his next 3 starts before we start formulating an opinion on what is right and what is wrong for this horse. Grand Slam Dio is in. I didn't see him down. I don't even know. Oh wait, I jumped over Gorgeous Package. That wasn't very nice. Gorgeous Package raced her butt off the other night. Finished 4th, pace 51 and 2, 28 on the end of it. Her had to push her 3 deep. I dare say, if that horse first over drug her up into it, she's first or second in the race and ended up a really good 4th. Grand Slam Dio. I'm not sure who's down to drive her on Tuesday. She's gonna need it. She's not as good as those fillies. I want to get her to Kentucky. I want to get her to Lexington, put her in that Wildcat race, see if we can get a little faster mark on her, see if we can get a stake win under her belt. She's a good filly, but those are really good fillies. So we'll see how things play out on Tuesday. Wait, no. Yeah. Is it not this Tuesday? No, it should be a stake race. Tuesday must be a stake race. Gymboree is in tonight. Tyler Angus is going to drive Gymboree at Northfield Park. She's getting better. I thought she'd be much better by now. Kind of dragging her feet a little bit, but she was better the other day. Manhattan Money just beat for second. He'll be heading to Philadelphia next week. Melisandre made a break that really wasn't her fault last week. I'm tempted to take the hobbles right off of her on Wednesday, but we'll leave her. We'll leave her for another week. She's in to go Wednesday at the Meadows. Memento Mori, I see there's some shares changing hands. I know there's probably some people out there saying, Anthony, all due respect, I just don't think you're right when it comes to Memento Mori. I don't think he's as good as we'd hoped. Maybe he's lost his shine, but I don't think he's going to be a quality 3-year-old. Well, that's fine. It's July the 3rd. There's lots of racing left for the rest of the year. And I think that Memento Mori's last race was his best race as a sophomore. I liked his body language. I liked the way he behaved, his temperament, and I think he's going to use that as a staging race for the rest of the season. I hope he is. And in which case, all of you just sold your shares for less than what he's going to be worth. I could be wrong. We'll find out together soon enough. All right, Mr. Texas. I got to get around you. Yes, sir. Memento Mori, Nassau, also eligible. Geez, I hate that. Made that break. I was really frustrated. And then he comes out as an also eligible on Wednesday. Maybe there's a class Thursday or Friday at the Meadows. I have no idea. I'll have a look soon enough, but I can assure you he will be much better in his next start. Resolve Indeed has been racing good at Georgia. Now we're at 2, now we're at 3. We'll keep poking away in there until we can get a B-track grassroots with this filly. She's been very good at Georgian. There's certainly nothing wrong with that. I'll continue to put her in there. We'll see how Resolve Indeed does this week. Is there nobody out? Yeah, there is. Woodmere Betcha. Woodmere Betcha races in Truro, Nova Scotia on Sunday. She'll be reunited with Mike McGuigan, who put her lifetime mark on her the last time they hooked up, oddly enough, at Truro Raceway. So those are your 3-year-olds. I'll be back in a minute with the racehorse. I'm just waiting for Patrick and Tenacious to race. I know Patrick finished 6th. I saw his race. A little ho-hum. Tenacious, probably going to be some of the same, but I wanted to wait and see. I'll be back with your racehorses in just a moment. Take care.